All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Uh, so we're super excited to give this little talk, and it'll be sort of a discussion as well, talking about how to get financial support as you're taking your projects, taking your films through the festival circuit. My name is Mikhail. I go by Kale for short. I like to say you can save a syllable if you like to, save your words. You can call me Kale. And then we have Veronica.
Sorry. I'm Veronica Howell, married, and also started Cinestruck together. That's my name.
Yeah. So before we get into the meat of things, we want to give a little bit more of a background about who we are, because I think it's helpful to know who's talking to you. So like I said, my name is Kale. My background is in filmmaking. So I went to film school, did a bunch of work after film school, commercial production work, narrative work, both worked on short films, worked on feature films. I've also always had a passion for technology, and I've always been interested in how to bring those two worlds together, both filmmaking and storytelling and technology. So I've also done things like AR experiences, interactive 3D experiences, interactive web pages. So I've always been super interested in how to bring the worlds of technology and storytelling together. And with Cinestruck, that's a big part of everything that we try to do.
That's me. Completely different background. I'm in my background's in business operations and partnerships. My last role is that online retail, and some of these little images are placements and partnerships that we secured. Prior to that, I was in nonprofit housing, affordable housing in Los Angeles County. And then together, we're working on Cinovite.
Yeah.
But we're going to be opening up the subject larger than Cinovite. It's about how to get financial support on the festival circuit.
Yeah. So we started our company because we really saw an opportunity for filmmakers to better leverage the festival circuit. So with that said, I want to ask some of the filmmakers here, and I know some filmmakers here. So getting financial support as you go through your festival circuit, one of the things that we want to know is, why are you guys taking your films through the festival circuit? So, and we want answers. So why are you taking your films through the festival circuit, Nancy?
I think it's a few different reasons. First of all, the networking. The people that you can meet at film festivals not only become friends, but collaborators. I met the director of my current short at a film festival. And so you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
So I'll start there.
Yeah. Maytal, Samuel?
For myself personally, I think there are also a lot of reasons, but the central reason is because I want to make connections that will hopefully help me get my feature idea and other ideas that I have kind of up and running. I want to make those connections, get connected with whether it's producers, executives, actors, all these people that can make it continue to roll the ball. Other than that, it's because I love the short film that I did, and so I want to show it to people and get connected through there and have people really see it. So
yeah, cool. Maytal.
So it's very similar. It's networking, and of course the other thing that you want the people who will watch it. It's a platform that you don't need to meet, and yet it's not distributed. You didn't distribute it yet, and you can go from town to town, show to the local people and the filmmakers your work. I think this is why we're making film.
Yeah.
Start building the buzz.
It's an easy platform for us.
Yeah. So, yeah, anybody else? Yeah.
Networking for sure, but for mine specifically,
I help run a kids film camp and for their camp films got in. So it's really to help get the kids, get their faces out there, get their names out there, show, like introduce them to the world, and then also for them introducing them to the festival circuit. So it's kind of help to get them out there and help introduce them to the industry.
It's awesome. Really cool. So from all these answers, and a big part of it is networking, making those connections, education, big part of it. The festival circuit is incredibly valuable. As filmmakers, you get a lot from taking your films to these different avenues and showcasing your work and meeting people and collaborating with people. We also know that it's very expensive to travel to festivals. If you're traveling to festivals within the United States or all over the world, it can get very expensive. So we want to.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, and that's why you're here. So we have some support buckets that we want to go over with you. And these are avenues that we think as filmmakers you can explore to support yourselves as you take your films through the festival circuit. So Veronica.
The first bucket is getting support by selling your brand. Kale's going to go into it further and what that means.
Yeah. So we want to tell you about Tidra Wilson. So Tidra is a film director. She's a musician. She's a songwriter, community artist. She's the director of a film. It's a series pilot called Denim about LGBTQIA+ creatives. And Denim premiered earlier this year at South by Southwest. We met Denim last year, or we met Tidra, I'm sorry, last year. We had this initiative called Debut, and the purpose was to identify some filmmakers who were getting ready to take their films to the 2025 circuit. So we were doing a bunch of outreach, reaching out on social media, we're doing a bunch of stuff, and we got in touch with Tidra, and Tidra was in the process of submitting Denim to film festivals. And so we got to meet.
I think her submission was actually that same week we met her.
Yeah, she submitted the same week we met her.
Side note.
To South by.
Yeah.
So we met Tidra and we saw Denim and we were like, okay, this is amazing. This is going to do very well. So I wanted to introduce Tidra, and we're going to go into Tidra's brand and how she was able to use her brand to be successful with her journey. So let's meet Tidra.
Tidra is my real name. It's who I am. By saying my name out loud, for me, it's like reconnecting who I am, where I come from, the stories I want to tell. I feel like those things are going to connect more with my filmmaking. Tidra is the director, the visionary, the fabric of where all the ideas come from.
So that's Tidra.
So we asked Tidra how her sponsor's missions aligns with her brand and her film's brand. So what she told us back was, I had already exhausted my resources in production costs for my doc-series pilot when I received the notification that the project would world premiere at South by Southwest 2025 Film Festival. So I had to think fast. It was important for me to show up in person for my premiere, and I started to fundraise and reach out to sponsors who aligned with my project's mission on amplifying LGBTQIA+ voices in cinema.
Yeah. So we met Tidra again after our debut initiative when she got the notification about South by. And when we met with her, she was, adding up the cost that how much it would cost to go to South by. And as she was adding up the cost, she realized it was going to cost a whole lot of money. We're not talking about $2,000. We're not talking about $4,000. We're not talking about $7,000. When we talked to her prior to some of the stuff that she started doing, she said she would need around $12,000 to go to South by and do it the way she wanted to do it and take full advantage of the opportunity. And she saw that as a huge challenge, but she also saw it as an opportunity. So,
it's all relative. That number is all relative. You guys know your experience with coming here or other festivals that don't have as much support around joining.
yeah. So Tidra did a few things, and she told us prior to doing these things that she was going to do it, because that's the kind of person she is. She created a sponsor deck. Then she started doing direct emailing. She started doing DMs. She started reaching out to everybody. She started hosting Instagram lives, word of mouth, everything. She just hit the ground running, and she reached out to sponsors to get support. And from all that work, she was able to raise $10,000 from sponsors. Some of her sponsors included Red Bull, the travel agency, and a longtime supporter of hers, Joshua Althina.
So we asked her why her sponsors would want to support her brand and her and the film, and she said that my sponsors appreciated my niche approach to filmmaking and are big advocates for the LGBTQIA+ community, as well as the arts. When they saw my projects and my mission, they did not hesitate to support and applaud my independent filmmaking efforts.
So I want to show a video that Tidra put together and she shared, and this was kind of a chronicle of some of her experience at South by. But what I wanted you to pay attention to is how Tidra is promoting herself and how Tidra is presenting her brand as a filmmaker. So you can tell from this video Tidra's personality, how outgoing she is, and I think you can also get a sense of how she's branding herself, from showing up with a pooch, a little puppy at a film festival. You do that when you want to stand out and when you want to get attention. And that's something that sponsors want to attach themselves to.
Mm-hmm. So we asked Tidra specifically, what is your brand? And she said that her brand centers around the intersection of my music, film, art, design, and fashion. Her creative production company, Artistland Studios, houses all of her creative works. Artistland Studios is also a place where we want to create more opportunities and jobs for creators, specifically people of color.
So Tidra, it's very interesting how she phrased this answer. So she obviously explained what her brand is in terms of, the intersection of music and art and just being an all-around media and fashion and design person. But the reason why what Tidra does is effective and why she was able to get sponsor support isn't just around those things that she describes what her brand centers around. It really is how her brand is applied. She is applying her brand to a bigger purpose beyond herself. Mm-hmm. So she said, my brand is the intersection of music, film, and design, art, and fashion. But she wants to create more opportunities and jobs for creators, people of color that are creatives. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't just have her brand, she's applying her brand to a bigger purpose, a bigger mission. Mm-hmm. So as filmmakers, if you have a brand that you've established for yourself, that's good. That'll give you a good identity. But if you want support from sponsors, you also have to have a larger purpose that you're using your brand to address, whether it's a social issue, whatever the case may be. Applying your brand is essential to get support from sponsors.
Yeah, so we're throwing it back at y'all. What's your brand? If you want to think more towards your film and your films and your style of filmmaking, do you have a strong social message? Does your film have a strong social message? Or could it be a cult classic? So as you think about this, does anyone want to share what your brand might be or the larger purpose of your film and your works?
We can use our film camps as examples. Ours is all about kids. And so it's for them to creatively express, whatever they're feeling, expressing, or want to put on paper, helping them have a safe environment to be creative in. Is kind of as I guess you could call the brand. And I guess on camera, the stories are about letting the kids express themselves, but then using those films for educational purposes. So like teach them how to filmmake, and then at a festival how to network and things like that. So that's kind of like two sides of the coin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share?
Vital, you have a good one. Okay, there we go, Sam.
Yeah, I suppose I would describe my brand as I'm interested in making films that make people think. Obviously, it has to make people feel as well. However, I think that in today's day and age, we think a lot less than we used to. And so I want to make films that have philosophical truths to them and that challenge people to kind of think through what those truths are and look on both sides of the equation, see the conflict, and then come to a conclusion for themselves rather than obviously just being told.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. All right.
I like that perspective of like for the brand of how do you want your audience to feel, or like what do you want them to leave the movie theater thinking. Like for me, like for my own non-camp movies, comedy is my jam. I want my audience to laugh. So like I like that perspective of how you want your audience to feel.
Yeah. That's a great way to approach it. Yeah.
I mean, I'll add, I think for me, what I've always wanted to do, and it's expanded since I'm an actor and I was like, I'm only ever gonna do films I can star in. And then I realized I like producing, and I was like, okay, I'm only ever gonna make films that have a woman protagonist. And then I read a script and fell in love with it that was about a trans guy, and I was like, I'm only ever going to make films, and it keeps going, but I do think that I'm driven to make films that feature underrepresented protagonists. I think when you show stories that are driven by people, women, or a queer person, or whoever it may be, you sort of expand a person's understanding of what I don't know the world is, and bring it in, because if they relate to that character, you're sort of spreading this idea that we're more the same than we are different.
Yeah. And I think when you have something strong like that, that is the kind of thing, corporate entities, they're kind of soulless. So they're always trying to find a thing that can make them feel more human. So if, as a filmmaker, you can showcase yourself as having that human element, they'll glob onto you.
We call it impact filmmaking. So it's kind of, I think it's the kind of.
Yeah. Great.
Impact filmmaking. Yeah.
I love it. All right, so our next bucket.
So the next bucket of gaining financial support along the festival circuit is getting support at the festival. So while you're here.
Yeah, so, and you guys are here. So there's a couple different ways to get support at the festival. I'll go through the common ones. Cash prize awards. So most festivals, they will have cash prize awards. If the festivals really love your work, they'll award a jury prize, or maybe there is an audience award. Kind of hard to know if you're going to get these or not. You can sell your film. I know there's market festivals. These really only happen at like a Sundance or a Cannes or maybe a Telluride. But it is a way to get support. It's not common at most festivals, but it is a way. What we want to focus on is audience support. How can you get audience support as you're going through the festival circuit? There's two key things when you're thinking about how to get audience support. You want to proactively seek support, and you want to have a very specific goal. The film festival community is a very niche community. The folks that are there are filmmakers. It's people that are in the industry, in the community of film. And it's people that absolutely love film. Those are the people that come to film festivals. And they want to support the filmmakers, especially if the filmmakers have a strong brand that they're using to do something bigger beyond themselves. So if you proactively seek support, meaning leveraging the platform that you have, most festivals have a Q&A where you can talk to the audience. That's an opportunity. If you have something specific, you can get support as you're screening your film from a festival. With our platform, Cinnavite, this is something that we've tried to operationalize and streamline a little bit. So we launched our platform last year at a festival, and we built in the ability for folks to be able to reward the filmmakers financially and give a pledge of support. And this video that I'm going to share is from a filmmaker who used our platform when it launched last year at our first film festival. And she raised over $1,000 in funding support through our platform. This was both funding that she got as her film was screening at the festival, and we also had a match grant that we have. We also have the match grant at this festival, by the way. But through those initiatives, she was able to raise over $1,000 in funding support for her film, both her and her co-director for her film Sound Mirage. So I wanted to play a short clip that she recorded for us.
First off, I mean, it's a really cool platform that I haven't experienced anything like before, and particularly it's being attached to a festival was really, I think, one of my favorite things about it. It was really cool to be able to, people who are seeing our film in a real time way in a theater are able to respond to that, and if they want, pledge and give some funding to us.
So I just wanted to share this short clip, and what she focused on here is leveraging the festival as a platform to get support. And that's very important. Outside of our platform, this is something that any filmmaker can do. The festival is your platform. They programmed your film because they found it valuable and they knew that people would enjoy watching your film. So leveraging the platform that you have at the festival is really a powerful tool that you can use to get support. So I'm gonna throw another question.
Yeah, so does any of you have a specific goal that you are fundraising towards?
Finish completion. Film completion sometimes. Happening a lot.
Yeah.
And you're in the middle of that right now.
This is specifically this case, for this specific film.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a specific?
Funding for a future project, maybe?
Yeah. If it's a very specific project, or
Yeah, like you got a scripted team and everything, you just need to finance it now.
yeah, absolutely. I think the best time to ask for money for your future project is when you're showing your current project, because you have something tangible in hand, and it's, hey, I did this, now help me do this next thing. So it's a great time to do it. All right, Veronica, what's our next bucket?
All right, so we're at the last bucket that we have for you today, and that's getting support using the festival. So what does that mean?
So this one is something that we are piloting. So we believe that there's tremendous value for filmmakers at festivals, and we touched on it a little bit before about using the platform of the festival. And it's funny, when we came in a few days ago, we saw one of the poster boards that's right outside that the festival, and we need to get more of the details on this, but there were sponsors for specific films, and they had it listed there, community sponsors for specific films. So there is an opportunity to use the festival to get support, whether it's indirect support or direct support, depending on the festival. Some festivals will help with coordinating some of those things.
Did anyone have their film on that board of sponsors? Anyone here? No. Okay.
But there is opportunities there.
Yep.
Something that we're piloting with our platform is, oh yeah.
What does it mean that they sponsor the film? Because I don't know if it's actually translates to actual money.
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think that the sponsors are paying for the festivals, and choose the film.
But they're doing it under.
Kind of taking.
They're using a specific film to do it. Yeah.
I don't think the filmmaker
It's getting them.
Sometimes the sponsors will help bring the filmmakers here. Not always, but sometimes when they're sponsoring a film, depends on how much money they're willing and able to put in, but sometimes they'll do that as well.
And every festival does it differently. But it's something that we see, like sometimes the sponsor will sponsor a specific screening, for instance.
We see a lot of opportunity in direct support, which is why, like Kale said, we're piloting what he's about to share. And we don't see it. So the first time we saw something about sponsor was here at JDIFF. But there's a lot of opportunity if the festival latches on to it.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're piloting selling ads, and the reason why we're doing this is because we know that there are a lot of businesses with products and services that would be very interested in getting in front of a bunch of filmmakers. So who might that be? Well, it would be folks with newly released indie films. They would be very interested in getting in front of people that are congregating around indie cinema, indie filmmaking. Post-production houses, rental houses, sound stages. All these businesses that are always interacting with filmmakers would love the opportunity to put their services and put their product in front of a bunch of filmmakers, because that's how they can sell. So we believe that this is an incredible opportunity, and that's why we're piloting this with our platform. So right now on the JDIFF landing page for our platform, we have a couple ads for indie films. In one case, this is an indie film that is actually releasing this coming week, called Egghead and Twinkie. And it went through the festival circuit, and it picked up distribution through Tribeca, and the film is being released this week. So we're good friends with the producer, and we got to talking to her, and with their distribution deal, they still have to do a lot of the marketing, even though they got distribution through Tribeca. There's still a lot of legwork. So we talked to them about, hey, we're going to be, working with JDIFF, and there's going to be a ton of filmmakers. There's filmmakers using the platform. There's folks that we're promoting to get to the landing page to learn more about the filmmakers through our platform. So this is a great way to highlight a film that's going to be released soon, that's going to be available for streaming. So we think that there's tremendous opportunities for filmmakers to leverage the platform that they have to let the festival be somewhere where they can advertise products and services for companies, for businesses, specifically if they are selling to filmmakers. We think there's a huge opportunity there, and that's why we've opened up the platform to allow filmmakers to do that.
Website.
It's the website. All right, this is our last question for the group.
All right. So do you have ideas of other businesses that would find value in being here in front of the festival audience and attendees?
Hotels?
Local ones? What'd you say?
What did you say?
Absolutely.
Restaurants and bars.
Mhm.
I would say companies that do film and creative tech work that aren't necessarily film, it's actually there's a marketing, PR, advertising company that's one of the sponsors here because they will rent out their sound stages and their sound mixing team to films to do. They're essentially a post-production house, but they're not a post-production house. Traditionally, they have that as a side business.
Okay.
Very specific.
Yeah, very cool. All right.
All right. So it's things to think about. But generally, generally, our platform is networking, connecting. You're able to meet, find the other filmmakers that are here. Audience attendees that are watching and loving the films can reach out to you. If there's anyone specific in the industry, and you connect, and they didn't have a way to connect further, they can email you directly through Cinnavite. And then, as an add-on, being able to leverage the platform if you choose to fundraise. So that's specific to Cinnavite, but there's so much opportunity beyond our
platform.
our little platform, right?
Yeah, I think kind of taking some of these ideas in mind. Like I said, our platform is a way to that we've tried to operationalize some of these ideas. Talking to filmmakers like Tidra, talking to just different filmmakers in general that have hit the ground and thinking about how we can support those initiatives with technology. But certainly, technology isn't needed to implement any of the things that we just talked about. If you want to reach out to companies and say, hey, I'm going to be, showcasing my work at this event, you can go to companies and say, hey, do you want to get your business in front of, a couple hundred people that might be seeing my film?
Or a couple thousand. Oh,
yeah. Or a couple thousand.
But
some production houses would be very interested in that if they know that that's a couple hundred filmmakers that would be potentially be interested in buying their product.
Has any questions come up? Have you sparked anything that you would like to ask or discuss amongst us all?
Where do the ads go?
So the ads right now through our platform, it goes on the landing page of the festival.
Local companies and then
Not
Doesn't
necessarily
just need
local.
to be local.
It can be any company.
Okay.
So typically with local companies, if they're very local, they're already likely sponsors of the festival.
This is a lower dollar sponsorship amount. So if there are local ones, yeah.
So
there are local companies that didn't contribute. This is a lower dollar amount that can also support the filmmakers directly, but in some way the festival as well.
Yeah.
And then we would put them in contact with you.
You actually get if your film's on the platform, you get your own ad solicitation page. So pre-event, you've been on the platform before too. You won't see it right now, but pre-event, there's a link when you see the pop-up come that says give a rewards. There's a little button that's the link to advertise, and that is what you would use, which we connect with you guys. That's what you would use to go ahead and connect directly, and then they can also buy it through that link as well. It explains the placement and what it does, and then from there, once it's sold, we work with the advertiser to get their assets that they would want to put up.
Any other questions? All right.
I have another question. I would love to hear just like a brainstorm about how, we've talked about this between us, like how do you get the festival more excited about it, more involved with it? Because I've now done 2 fests, and you know, they put something up. I don't even think the QR code is up here. The QR code was up at the last festival.
Yeah.
But they never said a word about it.
Yeah.
And so how do you entice?
Yeah, I think it's a learning curve because it's something so different. And so now, so far our experience with the festivals that we partnered with, we have post-festival follow-up calls, and it's like, how can we implement this even further and integrate it more within the festival next year? So it's you know, it's you guys like saying, hey, I want to use this. Advocate for yourself too. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ideas as well, but we do. We are constantly communicating. There's another festival we're working with who's he actually is geographically very close to where we live as well. And we've had conversations, long conversations, and he's been talking about it, and we can see it through the analytics. Like, he's been talking about it. People are going to the page, using it to message each other. Filmmakers are using it to message each other, to find each other. Like they say, what were they? Like, hey, we don't see the full messages, but it's like, hey, you know, I want to find you. Let's get a drink later or something, you know.
But it really it really comes down to us building a stronger relationship with the festival ahead of time, and it takes some time. But we do see when festivals get it, and there's 2 festivals, I would say, of the festivals we've worked with so far who get it. And we do see in the numbers, because we look at the analytics on the back end, we do see it in the numbers where we can tell that they're actively promoting it. But it's very hard on a festival by festival basis. So, but yeah,
well, Susan, as soon as we met her, she was like, oh, this is great. But it's sometimes not enough time to also train volunteers. So so it's like, this is an introduction this year for, you know, JDIFF, and it depends really how big. Like, there's so much going on here. So
but I think lead time is the biggest thing. Having enough lead time with the festivals to get them to integrate it more tightly.
How is everyone, like, how do you feel are you comfortable with talking about yourself, like selling yourself, like how, and
asking for money? How comfortable are you guys with
what is it
asking
like
for money?
for you?
Yeah, I mean, we did some crowdfunding for ours, and it was, you know, the whole point of it is so that more you can just rake in those like $25, $50 donations, and the majority of the money we got out of it was the people that I just called directly and said, hey, you want to give money to our film, here's the platform in which to do it. And I think that one-to-one connection is always going to be far more beneficial. But you still, having a platform with which to direct people to is huge. So I guess because we talked about self-distribution or roadshow distribution, is this something that would work for that, like outside of the festival?
Any event
framework? Is this would be a platform that you could direct folks to even if you're showing your film outside of the festival?
Yes, it's Kale, you can speak more to it. But
it's
built for events.
It's built broadly for events. Actually, the technology stack that I built before we launched it for festivals, it was built for general events around films, and not like movie drive-ins, like art houses. It was designed more for networking around that. And then we dialed in and basically adopted the technology stack to be specifically for film festivals. So
when the crowdfunding model is so like everyone's very like, I can't ask the same
Filmmakers hate
person over and
crowdfunding.
over.
Hate it.
So we're like, okay, well, how? What's another way that you can reach out broader from just like your immediate network is always like they love you the most and know you the best. But then it's thinking even further from just you, and it's like, oh, I get something out of it. So that's where the ads come in. So that's the mindset behind the ads. Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of self-distribution, and it's such an interesting space right now for filmmakers because of the need for theaters. Because theaters right now, just because of industry trends, they're not making their money just from studios sending. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
They're not making their money just from studios, bringing the hits anymore, because the demographics of who goes to the movie theaters is changing. So theaters are now more open to working directly with independent filmmakers to screen the films, because independent filmmakers are doing the on-the-ground marketing work to bring people in. And we're seeing we're seeing a trickle of something new happening as we go to these different events and talking to different people. What the big thing right now that's in the news is Hundreds of Beavers, who took the film on a roadshow and was very successful. Just in the niche indie space, outside of the niche indie space, nobody knows what Hundreds of Beavers is, but any filmmaker you talk to knows about it. But that's enough for that filmmaking team to go out and be successful with their project. And I think we're going to see a lot more like that happening. So we're thinking about that because we think it's a really interesting space right now.
Everyone's figuring it out together.
I'd like to add to that. I'm a former movie theater owner.
Oh.
And, things are weird right now in movie theaters. And so the ones that are still out there, they need to put butts in seats.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity, I think, for independent film.
Yeah.
I used to own the theater that's now called Phoenix.
Oh.
And we were running it. We did our best to support independent film. We would have done a call what's called full blown, where they show their film at the theater and stuff.
That's tough.
Usually it would be only if it was some sort of local regional interest, because just a random independent film at that time wouldn't have done it. I mean, it's just the case. But now it's a different story. Marvel movies only come out so often. I mean, you go back 10 years, 15 years, and it's like a whole year filled up. People were coming in, and it was a great time. It's no more the case anymore. So they look at that opportunity, and if you can make it happen on the ground for them, I think. I mean, it's not going to be every theater, and it's really tough. That's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
I think that to summarize, y'all are the future. So.
Yeah, I think if as filmmakers, and specifically for short films, and I saw some conversation around this on social, where a group of filmmakers were basically kind of brainstorming, what if we took our short films, maybe it's 3 or 4 short films, and just schedule it at a theater, combine efforts to do all the marketing, and just fill that theater for a group of short films. And if you can do that once, you can probably do it a few more times. And you can, create a model from that. So we just see, as we're talking to different filmmakers, both on social and in person, and going to these events, there is something bubbling right now in the independent scene with filmmakers and theaters that are saying, hey, we need to figure something out because distribution deals aren't as lucrative as they used to be. That's the reality. So everyone's figuring out something new. And I personally believe that there's something coming with theaters working directly with independent filmmakers to keep it going, because right now it's very difficult right now for especially independent theater owners. It's very difficult right now.
You were talking about that too, Maytal. Wanting to, like your film that you're working on, like taking it around and getting audiences to see it, weren't you?
Community screenings.
Oh, okay.
Voluntarily. Like we do it's for donations or cost.
Okay.
So what I do, I do half an hour screening and then we have a talk. And it's actually booming. But I donate all the money to specific organization.
Okay. So it's for a cause and then it gets donated.
But it could be, imagine I wouldn't dedicate this project to this cause. It would be really nice because the community likes, specifically with the project, this screening, they would like to talk about something very, it's taboo in culture. So everybody has. So this is also something filmmakers say that I do it for a reason, to donate money. Many filmmakers can make money. They do a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, even that, you start getting known even by doing this cause. You're becoming known, right, in the different circles.
Because the community that doesn't help me.
Oh.
They see it. We started with this.
Right.
Hey, yeah, it's not helping you yet.
Thanks so much for coming. Have a nice day.
But you can visit yeah, I didn't think about it. Like, I can tell like, the last year we did like 10, and they only cover my expenses. They don't charge anything. And each community charge as much as they want, and it's goes to a specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
I wonder, I'm like curious what you do to actually survive. I said, I'm curious about what you do to actually survive. Because everything you're doing seems all consuming. Yeah. But,
For the long run, let's say the documentary of the Congo, I have all the rights.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So when we sell it,
it's yours.
Yeah.
Good.
It's awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Well, most of you know, but if you don't, QR code. You have film. If you have a film this, while you're here at JDIFF, but did not enroll to put your film on Cinevite, you can still do it. But even if you didn't, the audiences know that you're there. They can send you a message, and we tell the festival. I don't think you're on, but like we tell the festival, we connect the messages with the festival so you would know.
We're taking a break.
We're gonna be off for the month of May.
We have 4 events this month. We're tired.
We have one that's where if it comes to be, we would take it in May. But other than that, we're gonna take the month of May and then carry forward in June. So TBD. Keep an eye on our website or email me. Text me. If you don't have my number, just ask. I'll give it to you. And then Tedra's very specific in knowing how to do the specific sponsorship model on her own, through the festival circuit or through whatever she does. Really, it's both sponsorship and crowdfunding what she does. So it's twofold. She's a great resource. So you can. Take note of her website as well. She does consultations. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.